Hey, hello friends. Last video we learn about how to do the installation of Linux server and then how to add the new hard disk into the Linux system. Then that new hard disk entry add to the /etc fstab file. Then after that we learn about beginning level of interview question of Linux server. So if you know that when we do the fresh installation of any kind of server, so we require some kind of packages or some kind of related software to work smoothly of that server. So same thing from the Linux system or Linux server. If you do any kind of fresh installation, so after that we need to require some kind of software or some kind of packages. For that we require repository, that is online repository or we called offline repository. So basically if those people already working on the desktop support engineer, they knows very well when they do the fresh installation of any kind of server. After that they install the server related software. If you are a fresher or you are an experienced person, so you knows very well, after do the fresh installation we require some packages to install in that server. So we discuss about one of the packages like yum or dnf repository. Why we use yum or dnf repository to CentOS or RHEL server? So here we will cover rpm, yum and dnf repository packages. So what is the yum repository? This is a core package management tools used in RHEL, CentOS and Fedora Linux system. It is a perfect for Linux beginner, student and administrator preparing for interview or real-time server works. Means if you are a Linux beginner or student or Linux administrator, so these topics are very important as per the server point of view, because if you learn to install the Linux server and if you don't know how to install the packages related to the application, then there is no use to learn how to do the installation of Linux server. So here we discuss about yum packages or yum repository, or how to create local httpd yum repository to the CentOS or RHEL servers. So here we will learn what is RPM, how RPM works, difference between RPM, yum and DNF packages, installing, updating and removing packages, checking dependencies, managing local repositories, practical real-time example for RHEL 7, 8, 9 and 10 distribution. So these are the topics we learn, and this will help you to build a strong foundation in Linux package management utilities. The main achievement is when you learn how to install local repository to your Linux servers, means you will achieve the 50 percentage of your goal. Means if you know how to do the installation of Linux package, means you can also install the any kind of application into the Linux servers. Here we learn how to create local HTTPD yum or DNF repository on RHEL or CentOS servers. So what is repository? Repository is a central location for keeping and maintaining RPM software packages for Red Hat or CentOS Linux distribution, for which user can download and install packages on their Linux servers. Means we call repository is a central location where we keep and maintaining our RPM packages, and anybody or any user can download and install these packages into the Linux server. Repositories are generally stored on public network, which can be accessed by multiple users on the internet. However, you can create your own local repository on your servers and access it as a single user, or allow access to other machines on your local network. Generally, we store our repository onto the public network. Why? Because anybody or multiple user can access easily from the internet. Or the other way is you can create your local repository on your own or air gap servers, means offline servers, and single user or multiple user access this repository only from the local LAN. The advantage of creating local repository is that you don't require an internet connection to install software packages or update the packages. The main advantage of create a local repository is you don't need to require internet connection, and you can easily update or install new packages on your Linux system totally offline mode. Yum or DNF is widely used software package management utilities for RPM, which makes software installation easy on Red Hat or CentOS Linux system. Means in environment, modern environment, we use easily yum or DNF package to install our software. Here we see quick difference between yum and RPM package. Yum. What is yum? We call yum yellow dog updater modified. Yum is a software manager. It's automatically install updates or remove software packages on your Linux server. In simple word, we call yum is like a Play Store for Linux. You type a command and yum will download and install everything with dependency. So what about the RPM? We called RPM is a Red Hat package manager. RPM is a package format or installer file. It install a single .rpm package only. It does not automatically download dependencies. In simple word, we call RPM is like installing a .exe file manually in Windows. Same thing, We can install RPM manually in our Linux server. In RPM, suppose we miss any kind of dependency. For that also, we need to download that dependency manually and then install that dependency to the Linux server. Then difference between yum and DNF. So those who are working on the Linux administrator, they knows very well the DNF. If they doesn't know why DNF come, so I tell you that why it's come. If you are working on the older version of operating system on Linux, that is 6.5, 6, so on that operating system we are using yum package manager we are using. Then once the Red Hat 7 to till Red Hat 8, that operating system use the DNF package. Why they use DNF package? Because DNF we call identify yum, means updated yum. DNF, it is a new version of yum. Why? Because it is faster, smarter and better. It is the default package manager for RHEL 8, 9 and 10. In simple word, DNF is the upgraded Play Store for Linux. It does the same work as a yum but faster and with better dependency handling. Means if someone asks you what is the difference between yum and DNF, so the simple answer is yum is a upgraded version of DNF. Sorry, DNF is upgraded version of yum, and DNF is faster, smarter and better than yum. It is come from RHEL 8, 9 and 10 operating system. Only this answer is enough for the interview purpose. So simple difference between yum and DNF is feature of yum and DNF. The speed of yum is slower and the speed of DNF is faster. Dependency handling is good of yum and much better of DNF. Yum use in RHEL 6 and 7 than DNF use in RHEL 8, 9 and 10. The backend of yum is older and backend of DNF is modern. The plugin support of yum is limited and the plugin support of DNF is more stable. These are the differences between yum and DNF. Prerequisite to create a local HTTPD yum and DNF repository server. So we discuss about the yum, RPM and DNF package. We see some detail about DNF, how DNF work, how yum work, what is a package of yum, what is a packages of RPM. So these short detail we can discuss. This short detail we discuss. Prerequisite to create a local yum repository means this is our production environment setup. What prerequisite we require to configure local yum repository server? For that we require two Linux machine. One is your repository server, second is your client machine. You can see our server IP and client IP. After that, we take a login of the repository server and install the Nginx web server package, server IP and client IP. After that, we take a login of the repository server and install the Nginx web server package with the help of dnf install Nginx. After that, once we install the Nginx package, then we start the Nginx package with the help of systemctl start Nginx command. Then we enable the package of Nginx. Why? Because suppose we restart the system and that package automatically start into the background. For that, we use systemctl enable Nginx command. After that, we verify that Nginx package with the help of systemctl status Nginx command. Then we whitelist the Nginx port into the firewall system with the help of firewall hyphen cmd hyphen zone is equal to public hyphen permanent hyphen add hyphen service is equal to http is equal to https. With the help of this command, we whitelist the Nginx port. After that, we reload the firewall service with the help of firewall hyphen cmd hyphen reload command. But apart from this, we disable the firewall with the help of systemctl stop firewall d dot service command, and then we disable the service systemctl disable firewall d dot service. Why? Because in production environment we doesn't use the software firewall into the production environment. After disable the firewall, we verify that our Nginx server is up and running by going to the following URL on your browser. So after that, once we install the Nginx server, then we check our Nginx is properly working or not with the help of http colon double slash our server IP. After confirm that our Nginx server is work properly, then we going to mount our RHEL or CentOS installation DVD ISO file into our Linux server. Why? To create a local repository. So create a local repository mount point under the Nginx documentary root directory. What is the root directory of Nginx? That is where www.html, and mount the downloaded RHEL DVD ISO image under the mnt directory. So first we create our one directory local underscore repo with the help of mkdir command. Mkdir slash where www html local underscore repo. Then we mount our DVD into the mnt directory with the help of mount hyphen o loop your DVD name, then slash mnt. Then after that, we mount our CD-ROM into the mnt directory. Mount slash dev slash CD-ROM slash mnt. Once we mount successfully our RHEL DVD, after that we create our local repo. For create that local repo, we have to copy our ISO file to our local directory under where www.html local underscore repo directory. So we go to the cd/mnt command, and then once you go inside the mnt command, we run the cp-rvf dot slash our destination directory where www.html local underscore repo. Once we copy our repo into the Nginx root directory local underscore repo, then we verify that that directory is showing or not. We use ls-lrth command where www.html local underscore repo directory. Then once we verify our all packages coming from mnt to our local underscore repo directory, then we configure our local repository. For configure our local repository, we create a one repo file under the yum.repos.d directory with the help of touch command. touch/etc/yum.repos.d/local-rhl.repo. These our these our repo file. After that, we give the necessary permission to the that repo files. We open that repository file with the help of vim editor. vim/etc yum.repos.d/local.repo. Once we open that repository file, then we add the entry of base URL, add the entry of base and AppStream repo. We give the name local repo underscore BaseOS. This is our repository ID. Then name, we give the name local repo underscore BaseOS. Then metadata underscore expire is equal to -1, enable 1, gpg check 1, base URL is equal to file colon 3 / where www.html local underscore repo. These are our local repo underscore BaseOS repository. For AppStream repository, we create another repo inside the same file, local repo underscore AppStream. This is repository ID. Name local repo underscore AppStream. Metadata underscore expire is equal to -1, enable 1, gpg check 1, base URL file colon 3 / where www.html local underscore repo / gpg check is equal to file colon 3 / etc pki.pki/rpm. That is our gpg key file. After that, save that file with wq command. So here are some interview tips regarding of your repo file. We have see our repo files. Inside that file, we saw that metadata underscore expire is equal to 1, enable 1, and gpg check 1, this parameter. So what is the meaning of that parameter? So metadata is equal to metadata underscore expire is equal to 1 means never refresh repo data. It is best for local and offline repos. Enable is equal to 1. This indicates that your repo is enable or disable. So with the help of this system detects your repo. GPG check 1 means it's enable package signature verification for system and security purpose. That is a key feature of that parameter. Then after save the file, we create after save the file, we have to create a repo with the help of createrepo command. For that, we need to install the createrepo and utils package with the help of yum install createrepo yum utils package. After that, create a repo with the help of create repo command, then where www.html local underscore repo. This is Nginx root directory. Once we create a repo, then we check or test our local repository. So for testing our local repository, first we clean the yum packages with the help of yum clean all or dnf clean all command. Then we verify our repo list to see our repository is showing or not with the help of repo list or dnf repo list -v command. After verify our local repository shows into the server, then we try to install any kind of packages in our Linux server with the help of dnf install git or any kind of your package name. Suppose you can see install suppose you can see your package is installed, then you can see that installation package coming from your local repository. Means this proves that the local repositories are enabled and are working fine. After that, we set up that local yum repository on our client machine. For client machine, what we require to do, first we have go to the repos.d directory with the help of /etc yum.repos.d, or we can directly create a local repo on that directory with the help of vim command vim/etc yum.repos.d slash local -rhl repo dot repo command, a repo file. Once we open that file, we can add the parameter BaseOS and AppStream. First, we create a local repo -baseOS, then name local repo underscore baseOS, enable is equal to 1, gpg check is equal to 0, base URL is equal to http colon 192.168.0.106. That is our repository server IP. And we install the repository server on the HTTP server. Then create a AppStream repo. First we configure a repository ID local repo underscore AppStream, name local repo underscore AppStream, enable is equal to 1, gpg check is equal to 0, and base URL is equal to our web server IP. Once we save the file, we check our local repository is present or not with the help of dnf list command. After verify local repository in RHEL or CentOS client machine, then we try to install the HTTPD package into client machine with the help of dnf install HTTPD command. Once you get the output from the local repo, means you can successfully configure your local repo on your RHEL system. After that, we can configure our local RAM. Once we done the successfully install of the HTTPD package, then we can configure our local repository server into the VMware. And finish the detail of yum repository, we try to install our yum repository server to the Linux system. You can use this as a practice environment, or you can also use this scenario in your production environment. For that, we require two Linux server. One is repository server, another one is client server. We already discussed about the yum server, what is a repository, what is a yum DNF and RPM package, and we also see about the configuration file of local repo and where we kept that local repo file into the configuration file. So now we going to install our yum repository server into the Linux server. So you can see here, this is my repo server and this is my client server. So this is my two VMs, and here we take a putty of that two VM servers. Here you can see my repo server and another one is my client server. Into the repo server, we install Nginx package. Why we install the Nginx package? Because to create a local repo over the HTTP web server, we require the Nginx package. So this package only install into the repo server, not for the client server. After install the Nginx package, first we check the status of Nginx server. Here we see the status of Nginx server is inactive mode. So we start the Nginx server and check the status again. Here we can see our Nginx server is active and running successful. There is a one command, we enable that Nginx service into the Linux server. Why? Because during the boot time, when our machine will be rebooted or machine needs to reboot, after that, that package automatically start into the background. No need to manually start or restart this package into the Linux server. For that, we use systemctl enable nginx command. With the help of this command, anytime your machine suddenly rebooted or you manually rebooted, you no need to check your nginx is running or not. It's automatically restart into the background. After successfully install the nginx package, we add our http and https port into the firewall. But in production environment, there is no need to add these two services into the firewall. Why? Because this is a software firewall which is present inside the Linux server. But in production environment, we are using hardware firewall. Why? Because that hardware firewall manages entire network in your premises. So here we stop the firewall. First we check that firewall is started or stop with the help of systemctl status firewall d command. See here my firewall services is running. So first we stop that services, then again we check the status of that service. My firewall service is successfully stopped, but we have to disable that service. See, here when we disable the firewall service means if you manually restart your server, that time your firewall service not be start automatically into the background mode. After that we check the status of firewall service, it's inactive and dead state. Then after successfully disable the firewall service, we check that service into the browser to our Nginx web page is working or not. We type http colon double slash and my server IP. See, my Nginx web page is successfully work in my browser. After verifying the Nginx service is proper working or not, then we move to the installation media disk. What we do here, first we create one directory. We create one directory into where www.html local repo. This directory we created into the nginx root directory where www.html is a nginx root directory. Inside this we create a local repo command. Sorry, inside this we create a local underscore repo directory. Here we go to the server. See, here I am go to the server and CD-ROM settings. So my CentOS stream ISO already present here. This is my ISO name. I copy this ISO name and paste here. Instead of this command, I am using this ISO. We check that why our ISO not working here. See, there is no need to use mount hyphen o loop and that ISO file command. Here I give the tag no need to use this command. Why? Because we already attached our DVD to the our Linux servers. Means that DVD is already present and successfully mounted to the Linux server. So we have to use only mount slash dev cd-rom and space slash mnt command to mount our cd-rom in our repository server. After successfully mount our CD-ROM, then you go to the CD mnt directory. Then we use this command. You can see I am already present into the mnt directory and I am using cp-rvf space dot slash where www.html slash local underscore repo slash this command. Why we use this command? Because I want to copy all these directories and file present inside the mnt directory to paste into the where www.html local underscore repo directory. This is my destination directory which are present into the nginx root directory. So after press the enter, you can see my directories and files are copying to the nginx root directories. So it takes some time to copy all these files because when we use df-th command, that time we see that our DVD size is 7.8 GB. So it takes little time for the copy. For more important part to learn the yum local repository server is when we learn how to install the packages into the Linux server. So that time we solve the dependency of the packages. With the help of these packages, you can install application related dependencies. If you watching this video from the start, so it's very easy to learn and to understand how to install the package and how to create the yum repository servers. But if you're not watching this video from starting, means if you're not watching this video from to start, it is trouble to you to understand and create a yum repository server into the Linux system. So this topic is very important as per the Linux administrator. And those people who are into the newcomers to the field, those people who are new in the, those people who are working into the new field. Now you can see we have successfully copied our all packages into the local underscore repo directory. So we can check our all directories and file successfully copy or not inside the local underscore repo directory. See, we are successfully copy all the files and directories. You can also see the size of that directory. First we use cd slash where www.html path. Once you do the cd, do the ls-lrth command, use du-sh and that directory name. See, you can see our local underscore repo directory size is 7.8 GB. Means we have successfully copy the ISO directories and file into the local underscore repo file. Here you can also see our DVD file is 7.8 GB. After successfully copy the ISO file into the local repo, then we configure the local repository. Now, this is the most important part of the configuration into the yum server. So for that, first we create one file with the help of touch command. We go to the yum.repos.d directory and we see that our local -rhl repo is present or not. So we successfully created one repo file, and after create that one repo file, we open that repo file with the help of vi editor and we copy all the parameters which is related to the yum repository. So first we paste our local repo underscore baseOS parameter. Even in earlier we also discussed about this parameter. So if you miss that parameters details how its parameter is work, so I can tell you once again what is the important of that parameter. First, this is repository id. What is repository id? Repository id is local repo underscore baseOS. Then what is the name of that local repo is local repo underscore baseOS. Your metadata underscore expire is equal to -1, means that metadata is not expire. It is very useful when you configure the offline or local repo. Then enable gpg check base url, then gpg check gpg key. Then second repo we create for as appstream local repo underscore appstream, name, metadata, enable, gpg check, base url and gpg key. After adding this parameter, we save the local repo file. After save the local repo file, we going to test our local repo is proper working or not. To do that, first we clean all the yum related files. Here we use dnf clean all command. Suppose if you not do this, might be when you install any kind of packages, that packages come from the internet. After clean the DNF packages, we use the command dnf install git. When you enter this command dnf install git, it checks that the package is coming from local repo or the internet. So we can see that error during downloading metadata for repository local repo underscore baseOS. So we check that what is the issue. To verify the issue, we have to create dnf install createrepo. This is a one utility. Here we first install the dnf install createrepo and yumutils package. After install this package, again we rename that local repo. Why we do like this? Because when we create a local repo, that time our main repos entry are disconnected because of we run the command dnf clean all. With the help of this command, our repo not sync to the internet. To resolve this issue, first we remove or we rename that local repo and again we use dnf clean all command, and after that we install that create repo and yumutils packages. Once we successfully install that packages, again we rename our local repo into the same file name. Now we use dnf clean all command. After that we run that create repo command, create repo where www.html local repo. See, when we use this command, our create repo is now starting to create. Why we face this kind of issues? Because this is our fresh installation. In fresh installation, you have to already install your create repo and yumutils packages, because without this package you cannot create your local repo. So it takes time to create the local repo. In that video today we learn how to do the troubleshooting to the repository servers. Why? Because you can also face these kind of challenges into the production environment. So it is better to understand what parameters we required into the production server when we do the fresh installation. See, if you are doing Linux administrator job into the new company, means on that environment the Linux server is already created or already installed. Okay, so on that time all these packages are present into that server, so you cannot face these kind of errors into your production environment. But suppose you create a new server for any client or any development purpose and you have to create a local repo, so that time you have to understand what kind of packages do you require from the internet or required from the other local repository. So this type of troubleshooting is coming when you create a server, fresh server for the local yum repository. So here when we create a create repo command, then we use dnf repo list hyphen v command. See, dnf repo list hyphen v command, what that command checks, that command check our local repo is properly sync with our local yum repository service, that local repo is properly sync or not with our yum repository server. If they properly sync, so that repository are present into that repo list. See, you can see that that repository is properly synced. When you remove that hyphen v, then what output it's come? See, repository id and repo name, AppStream, BaseOS. This is our local repo. So do one thing, we go to our local repo and here we do some changes. Local repo, BaseOS, local repo underscore AppStream. Here also we use same name and again here also we use same name. Local repo underscore BaseOS, local repo underscore app. Then we see what happened. We use dnf clean all command and we check dnf repo list. What it's happened? See, here my local repo is perfectly working. In earlier command, we see that only the repo ID, C, AppStream and base OS name. Now here we clearly see that our local repo underscore AppStream and local repo underscore base OS means our local repo server is properly configured. Now we use the command dnf install git. Now with the help of this command we find out that package come from the local server. So make sure that when you use dnf clean all command, when you use dnf clean all command, that time dnf clean all the fetching repository related configuration, so it takes time to sync with local repo to download the packages. Here we already install the git packages. Now we use httpd, we use that package also installed. So what we did here, just check htop command if it is coming from the local repo or what. No, that is not a command. nf install ntp. Let me check that package is already present or not. ntp is not present. I am asking to the chat gpd, want to install Linux packages. Tell me the name. DNF utils we already installed. HTTPD already installed. rsync. Okay. rsync. Okay. We use the rsync command. DNF install C. It is come from the base OS. Means our local repository server is working fine. So here we use no command and now we going to configure our client server to check our local repository server is working fine or not. First we go to the /etc yum.repos.d cd /etc yum.repos.d. Inside this directory we create the local repo. When you open your local repo file, then we need to add this entry. See, for client server, that entry is little different. Why? Because to fetch the repo, we have only used the base URL. We required only repository ID, that is local underscore base OS, then name, enable GPG check and base URL. For AppStream, we use the same. For save the configuration, use DNF clean all command. It's clear your cache. After that, DNF repo list. DNF repo list. See, my repo is coming from local repo. Now here I installed one package DNF ins install httpd. We check that server is ping or not. Server is ping properly. Systemctl firewall service is running here. We stop this service. Stop disable. We check that here also I disable etc vim/etc linux then config file. Here you can disable the service. You can copy from here. Again you can check. For that we reboot the server. Login again to the client server. You check your SC Linux policy is disabled. Then go to the repos directory. You can also move or rename that repos file. Here we use clean all command to clear the cache. Then we use DNF repo list. See here only see my local repo repository is present. Now we install some package. What see if it shows any error or not. Yes, it shows the error. Why it shows the error? We come to the server and we check that repo data is present or not. Yes, repo data is present here. We do the some kind of troubleshooting. You check that our packages is properly coming. See, these packages is properly coming from the repo data, means our local repository server. So what happened? It's not coming from the client machine. Status code 404 HTTP. Okay, let me check what is the IP address of that server. IP don't come 192.168 235 130 192 168 235 132. The IP address is correct. Again we use DNF clean all command and DNF repo list. Then we install DNF ins install rsy and see. Let's see what happened. We see the same error. We check with ChatGPT on my client client machine. When we install package from yum server, it shows me the error. Please fix this error. Let me check that page is open or not. Okay, that page is not open. So what we do here, we try to give the hard path. Let me check this curl command is working or not. No, it give me 404 error. Second command also give me 404 error. Okay. Systemctl status firewall disable. Okay, disable. So what happened? Okay. Now we can see that what problem we find out. We do these steps. See, now we solve the issues and you can see that what happened because first we take a command. What command we use? So first we take output. This is output. See, this is our output. Here, what happened? My Nginx called to the USR share Nginx HTML directory and also he called to the where www HTML direct. So that's why my repository is not fetched from the client side. So now we use DNF clean all command and then we use DNF install git. Okay, I need to go and do some changes into my repository. Here I have to use this path. Why? Because my repository is not fetched from repodata.xml file. Okay. That repository called double directory. So here we need to need to give the IP. Then we try to fetch DNF clean all command. Oh, what happened? Might be I have to this output not working properly. Why it's not working properly? I am taking reboot of this server. We'll check what happened because my repository is properly fetched from URL link. After restart the server, we check DNF repo list command, DNF install git. Again, it shows the same error. Okay. So what we do? What happened? This package is coming from local repo repository. but my client server not fetching the packages. Here my SLNX is unable. We try to disable this SLNX and restart the server. Then we check what happened. Then reboot the server. See, we successfully resolve the issues and do the troubleshooting why our repo data is not synced from the local server. So we do lots of R&D to troubleshoot the local repository servers issue. From my client side, we disable the SLNX, then we find out one critical pointing, that is my Nginx server is pointing to the USR shared you. My Nginx server is pointing to the USR share Nginx HTML directory, and another it's pointing to the where www HTML directory. So for that, what we do here, we do the steps to fix the issue. What we do, we go to the USR share nginx HTML index.directory. We remove that directory and we create one symlink. After that, we restart the Nginx server. Okay. This troubleshooting we do to server side. Then once we do the troubleshooting into the server side, we go to the client side. Why? Because of our repository package is not pulling from the local repository server. So to fixing this issue, what we do first, for that what we do first, we correct our repo file. After correct our repo file, what we do after correct the repo file, we on client side we do DNF clean all command, clear all the caches, then we delete the caches and again we create a new cache with DNF make cache command. To cleaning the cache, we use DNF clean all command. Delete the cache, we use rm-rf where cache DNF star. Delete the cache and create a new cache with the help of DNF make cache command. So with the help of these commands, we can successfully pull the repository from the repository server to the client computer. So it takes too much time to do the troubleshooting and to find out the issue, how that issue persists into the production environment. You can face this kind of issue into the production environment, and even though this is you can face also to the your local or lab environment. So for that, we we are doing lots of troubleshooting to the help of ChatGPT. In this video, we can also learn that how to use the ChatGPT when the problem is occurred. To resolve this problem, we have to give proper syntax or proper context to the ChatGPT, and ChatGPT with the help of that content, he fix the issue and give the proper result as per the production environment. So here in client machine you can see our rsync package coming from the local repository servers. I hope you enjoy this session and also you learn how to do the troubleshooting of Linux server regarding of the packages, regarding of your repo is not synced to the local repository server. So this kind of troubleshooting you never face into the production environment, because in production environment there are lots of packages installed already. So I hope you enjoy this session. For more interesting session, you can see my channel and also subscribe the channel. So take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day.